The detention facility on Station Korvax 7 was considered as its warden, a hulking Draxian named Vorthok, took pride in breaking the spirits of the galaxy's most dangerous criminals. With scales like armor plating and strength that could bend jurisdiction, he ruled his prison with an iron fist, literally. Kevin had been there for 3 months, accused of smuggling weapons across the neutral zone. He maintained his innocence, but the galactic courts rarely sided with humans. They were still newcomers to the cosmic stage, barely a century since first contact, and their reputation for unpredictability made them easy scapegoats. Jasmine arrived on a cold morning when the station's artificial sun was still dimming up. She couldn't have been more than 8 years old, with dark hair pulled into 2 ponytails and eyes that seemed too old for her face. The guards whispered among themselves, why would a human child be sent to Korvax? She had no file, no charges listed, just a transfer order signed by someone high up in the galactic administration. Vorthok didn't care about the details. Another prisoner was another opportunity to demonstrate his authority. Kevin first saw her in the recreation yard, a barren space with force fields for walls and recycled air that tasted like metal. She sat alone on a bench, drawing patterns in the dust with her finger. He approached cautiously. Hey kid, you okay? Jasmine looked up, studying him with those unnervingly mature eyes. I'm fine. Are you? The question caught him off guard. In prison, no one asked if you were okay. Managing. What's your name? Jasmine. She returned to her dust patterns. You're Kevin. Cell block 7. 3rd tier. Accused of weapons smuggling, but you didn't do it. Kevin's blood ran cold. How do you know that? She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. I know lots of things. Before he could press further, a commotion erupted near the yard entrance. A small creature, something like a cat but with 6 legs and bioluminescent fur, had somehow gotten into the facility. It mewed pitifully, clearly lost and frightened. Vorthok stormed into the yard, guards scattering before him. Vermin, he bellowed. The creature froze, its fur dimming with fear. The warden crossed the distance in 3 massive strides and kicked the small animal with all his considerable strength. It flew through the air with a broken cry and slammed into the force field wall, where it crumpled and went still. The yard fell silent. Jasmine stood slowly, dust falling from her hands. She walked toward Vorthok with measured steps, her small frame somehow commanding attention. The warden looked down at her, and laughter sounded like grinding gears. What do you want, little human? Come to cry about the pest? Jasmine stopped a few feet away. When she spoke, her voice was barely above a whisper, but somehow everyone in the yard heard it clearly. You shouldn't have done that. Vorthok's laughter grew louder. And what will you do about it, child? Jasmine tilted her head. Nothing. I won't have to. The temperature in the yard began to drop. Kevin felt at first a chill that had nothing to do with the station's climate controls. Frost began forming on the metal benches. The force field walls flickered. Vorthok's smile faded. What trickery! The station's lights went out. In the darkness, Kevin heard screams, not from the prisoners, from the guards. Reed emergency lights kicked in, bathing everything in crimson. What he saw would haunt him forever. The prisoners stood frozen, untouched, but every guard, every overseer, every administrator who had ever shown cruelty in Korvax 7 was on their knees, clawing at their heads, screaming about voices, about things they couldn't unsee. Vorthok was the worst. The mighty warden sobbed like a child, his scales turning pale, his massive body trembling. Make it stop, he begged. Please, make it stop. I see them all, everyone I've hurt, everything I've done. Jasmine walked through the chaos untouched, heading toward the small broken creature. She knelt beside it, and her hands began to glow with a soft golden light. The cat thing stirred, its fur brightening, wounds knitting closed. After a moment, it stood, rubbed against her leg affectionately, and scampered away through a vent. She turned back to the prisoners. The red light made her look otherworldly. The ships will come soon, she announced. Everyone wrongly imprisoned will be freed. Evidence of Korvax 7's crimes has been transmitted to the galactic courts. Those who deserve punishment will receive it. Those who deserve freedom will have it. Kevin found his voice. What are you? Jasmine smiled that sad, too-old smile. Humanity's insurance policy. We're newcomers to your galaxy, but we're not stupid. We knew some would try to take advantage, so they made people like me, children born in labs, gifted with abilities your scientists call psionic potential. We're scattered throughout the galaxy, hidden, waiting. For what? for moments when someone needs to learn that humans protect their own, and that we don't tolerate cruelty. She walked toward the yard exit, stepping over guards still lost in their mental prisons. At the doorway, she paused and looked back. By the way, Kevin, your weapons smuggling charges will be dropped. The real smuggler confessed 5 minutes ago. Halfway across the galaxy, he suddenly felt very guilty about letting you take the fall. Then she was gone, leaving Kevin standing in a prison that was no longer a prison, surrounded by the broken minds of those who had thought humans were weak. Ships did come. The galactic courts came. Korvax 7 was shut down within a week. Kevin was released, his record cleared. He never saw Jasmine again, but sometimes, in quiet moments, he thought about that little girl with ancient eyes and terrifying power, and he remembered her. Whisper, you shouldn't have done that. The galaxy learned something that day. Humanity might be young, might be new, might seem soft compared to older races, but cross them at your peril, because somewhere, a human child is watching, and they remember everything.